Finally, the Marineford arc with all the previous buildup of Impel Down and not knowing if Luffy would be able to get to Ace, he's actually within grasp. I'm also talking about the quick Sabo arc afterwards because of how it ties into this arc. Whitebeard's entrance into the start of the fight was great, and his speech and morals about family really hit it for me. Taking the all for one, one for all approach to his crew, he aims to save Ace no matter the cost because it would be even harder to just turn a blind eye on his family. Whitebeard's main goal starting his pirate journey was forming a family. He never really was one for treasure or anything along those lines. He wanted to create a family and take his pirate crew into his old age as if they were his own flesh and blood. This obviously meant everything to Ace, who feels like his existence in this world is one that shouldn't be, as he's the biological son of Gold D. Roger, the infamous Pirate King. Having a family that wants him and he can stay with means as much to him as becoming the Pirate King. This is due to the serious trauma and hardships he faced growing up, not being able to say anything about his life because he was very isolated in his own head about who he was. It makes sense because it could be dangerous to even form friendships with people due to his past. While he has the family of bandits shown in the flashback, it doesn't quite feel the same, as he was pawned off by Garp to them against their will, and while they grew to love each other, it felt more like they were preparing him for life in a way. They still cared, but they had hard lives that they had to lead as well. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo are childhood friends and form an unbreakable bond together. This is where Ace is really able to smile and be himself, but that gets taken away from him with the loss of Sabo. It's hard to move on from something like this, and we don't really get too much insight into the early stages afterwards. But you can tell with how Whitebeard affected him, it must have been really tough on him. It makes him all the more happy to be alongside his crew and makes his failed retrieval that much more brutal, especially with Whitebeard dying as well. It's interesting how the government wanted to kill him to ruin pirate morale, but his scream of how the One Piece is real only further boosted everyone's morale to become even stronger. It makes me excited to see how future events unfold and what will happen to his crew. I can't help but feel the Sabo backstory might have fared better to make more of an emotional impact before the death. Not to say that the death wasn't emotional or anything, but I felt like I didn't really know too much about Ace when he died, and that added piece could have made me more emotionally invested. I still found the scene sad overall, but mainly for Luffy's reaction and the way he handled it. This brings me to another point. I really like how Jinbei handled the situation and how he was able to cool down Luffy at the end and keep him from throwing his life away. I'm looking forward to seeing future developments with Jinbei and what he plans on doing now that he's out. Definitely piqued my interest. I've had the script sitting for a while and wanted to add that the future events you learn about Ace's life as the story goes on, especially when they arrive to Wano, really start to add on to how emotional the death was. It's kind of a slow burn in a way where at first it almost doesn't even feel real, but as they travel onward and they see more and more about his journeys, it really sinks in. The promise he gave that will forever go unfulfilled and how Otama takes the news especially felt pretty awful to learn about. This was a really quick video because I feel like Marineford and all of its fights have been done to death a trillion times on YouTube. As well as the main parts I find interesting are Ace's death and how it affects Luffy, with his first two real friends being taken from him so early into his journey. And once again, thanks for watching.